what is the number one mistake intuitives make when they change? And the mistake that they make is that they're not changing for themselves. They're changing for another person. So I'll give you an example. Let's say an intuitive raises their vibration. They stop nagging their friends and family, and they've stopped, I don't know, cooking food for them when they don't appreciate it. They stop taking crap. They've left the house when people are nagging and ragging on them. However, they are doing it not because they truly want to change and transform their lives. They're doing it because they're still trying to win the approval of people around them in their household. That is the number one mistake that intuitives make when they transform. Why is that? It's because it's a very short-term goal to change for other people. You win their approval, you get it, and it's kind of like a temporary high that we all are seeking in society. Think about when we were in school. We wanted that temporary high of the teachers saying we got an A+, or conversely, maybe we wanted the temporary high from our peers that we're the cool kid, or maybe we're wanting the temporary high of getting the high-powered job or the high-powered degree. But then once we attain it, when we're doing it for other people, the feeling of attaining it is very empty in the end. We're just thinking, why did we go ahead and do all those things? What was the point? And that victory will be very short-lived. That discipline will fizzle out, and you won't be able to maintain the transformation. You won't be able to maintain the changes that you have made. So sooner or later, your old habits come creeping back around after you've had the payoff of getting the approval from other people. And you're going to start back at square one from the same position where you had your bad habits, because you think that you've already won. And so you kind of slack off and you think you know everything, but really you're not living by those things that you've learned anymore. And if you don't live by the things that you've learned, if you don't practice them, then it's like you don't know. And so that's the biggest mistake intuitives make, is they have the wrong intentions from the very beginning of wanting to change and transform their lives, of wanting to become intuitive, of wanting to share and be of service to the world. They don't have the right motivations from the beginning. And truthfully, when you're of service to others, it's a lot of work, and sometimes it's not paid work for a long time. The nature of the work is that you do a lot of work up front for free. And I heard a coach talk about this once. It's like, you gotta get used to getting the short end of the stick and loving it when you're of service to others, when you start a business. That means you create $10 million worth of value for other people, and then maybe you charge $1 million in return for all of that effort you've made. And then you earn the $1 million and you're a millionaire, but you've given out $10 million worth of value in order to get that $1 million back. That is the nature of being an entrepreneur. You have to give 10x more than you expect to receive in payment. It's not like having a job where you just do as you're told by your boss and then you get the raise. It's like you do way more work in order to try to improve people's lives, and then they pay you because they really appreciate the work that you've done. They really appreciate the work that you've shared. But if you're going for approval and you want people to like you, and that's the reason why you're putting your message and your service out there, what's going to happen is you might be able to do a few videos that are really cool and that your friends watch and hooray, applaud, and then what happens next? It's like, oh, 10 million other people didn't tune in to me. This other person has 1 million followers. This other person has 100,000 followers, and I'll never get there. And you kind of fizzle out and you run out of steam, rather than focusing on being of service in the moment to the people who are following you now, and really trying to serve and help them. And so if you have the wrong motivation from the beginning, you're just not gonna make it as an author. You're not gonna be able to influence people online. And I've seen this sometimes with certain professions. I don't wanna say who it is. Not anybody I know directly, just some general people who are acquaintances or contacts in my network. I've noticed that maybe they're trying to put up something on YouTube online and they're not really getting the traction. They're not getting an audience. The reason why is because they're still trying to do it for approval. They're trying to do it for approval from the person who owns the fitness studio. They're trying to get it approval from maybe their spouse or their kids, and they're just waiting for people to tell them it's okay to do something. And when you're waiting and waiting and waiting, That's a very low vibration. You're not going to get anything done. Whereas the nature of actually being on social media and trying to give to people is that you have to be working hard from the beginning. You have to be putting stuff out there for them to consume, and you have to take your own initiative 10 times over, way, way, way more often than the length of time it takes to get somebody else's approval. That's the only way you can give 10 million in order to get the 1 million back. If you're busy waiting, all you're going to give out maybe is like $100 worth, if that, and then you're done. It's not a simple path to be an intuitive and an entrepreneur, to be honest with you. There are some people who are very good at investing. There are some people who are good lawyers. There are some people who are good doctors. But they would not do that well on this path because they're too accustomed to getting approval from someone else to tell them that they're intelligent or that they're a genius or they're doing good in the world or that their investments are profitable. Whatever that external validation is, they're addicted to it. And they can't imagine doing something where that validation is so disconnected and way down the line that it's very hard for them to imagine it. It takes a lot of self-discipline. It takes a lot of skill in order to put yourself out there, and not everybody can do it. However, if you're struggling and you're blocked and you really, really want to do this, the approval piece might be that point that gets you past the brink of failing and gets you to finally succeed. And this principle is true in your personal relationships as well. If you're constantly relying on the approval of a partner or somebody you have a crush on, you're probably not going to succeed in achieving a marriage or having a family because you're too focused on that one person, and they may not have your best intentions at heart, you know? Maybe they are there to manipulate you. The only way that you know for sure is you set a boundary and you see how they respond to their actions. Sincere people will stay with you. And people who are not that sincere or don't have very good intentions will walk away when they're not getting what they want.